So today is a car that I personally have always wanted to do a deep dive on. This car, you might have guessed it if you know me, is a Mercedes. What is up? I got something today that I'm gonna start. I don't know how to explain it because it's already been touched on a lot on all of YouTube. Like, you can pretty much find a video on anything. But a lot of these videos aren't really, as I watch them, it's not what I personally am looking for in the video. So I decided, since I get a lot of unique opportunities here at my shop to drive and work on in depth, in detail, deeper than most other mechanic shops, I figured I'd share some of this information with y'all. Now, right off the bat, this particular Mercedes, it's older. It's 2006 C280. Yeah, I'm just gonna get in and start the video and we'll talk about it. So, right off the bat, as a German car enthusiast, I'm not disappointed with the way that it feels. This is the base model, which is the lowest of the lowest Mercedes that you could possibly buy. But facts are, that's what a lot of people are buying. They're buying 20-year-old luxury cars. What I'm trying to do in this video series is make it to where you, as a car enthusiast, has a proper perspective on your options. Right off the bat, this car feels nicer than, say, like a 20-year-old Hyundai Sonata, but it's got a lot of things that I don't like about it compared to other 20-year-old luxury cars. Personally, I'm a BMW fan. Anybody that knows me knows that. The Mercedes has always been like a high hope for me, and this one, it let me down. Not gonna lie. The seats are cracked pretty bad. The dash is, gotcha, bitch. The dash is in pretty good condition. It's not cracked at all. German cars really don't have a problem with their dashes, generally. The radio seems to be delaminating. I've never seen that before in even like an older Volkswagen, so that's kind of weird. One cool thing about this car that I do like is the display. I'm gonna take the customer's pictures out of the speedometer, but I love this display. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. It's like a black and white contrast, so it's really cool. I love that. So we just started it up. It doesn't like that I got my seatbelt disconnected. But this car had, or it came in with a lot of issues. Mainly, you put it in drive, you won't go anywhere. Transmission just kind of quit on them. I don't like the key fob situation, because like you put the key fob in and it's like it spins like almost a full 360 degrees, so you're in there like and like you just keep spinning. I don't like that. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but when I put it in gear, it's like jerks really bad. Right off the bat, as I was driving it, it wasn't actually as special as I hoped. I know this one has problems, but kind of looking past those problems and just getting a feel for everything, I wasn't really pleased. So I'm trying to give you, as a car buyer, a good perspective from a mechanic's viewpoint of whether or not you should buy 17-year-old Mercedes. I'm gonna get out, go over a few things of why I feel this way toward this car. A little bit about it. It's 170,000 miles. That's one thing that I love about this car. The hood latch. This hood latch is freaking, it's pretty cool. Okay, I know it's something that's really small. I'll just take a look at it. It's no question as to where the hood latch is. Nice and red, and it's kind of tucked away. I really like that. I know it's a small thing, but it was a nice touch by Mercedes. Okay, so right off the bat, I wasn't disappointed, mechanic perspective, of the engine slash hood layout. It's actually, this is not necessarily a small V6, not a big V6, but I'm not disappointed in the way that the engine bay is laid out. It's like an engineering masterpiece. Like, just check it out. We got the brake. We got the brake module. I know the lighting's kind of trash. We got the brake module like over here all by its lonesome, and it's a pretty good bit of space over there. Nice dual intakes. You know, it's kind of roomy. Like, this is the smaller Mercedes, and then here we get into what I personally actually enjoy. Everything is very form fitted in there, so like hoses, sensors, everything like that. You know, it's compact, and this is this is an older car. I like having everything tight, because, like, you know, inside of an engine bay, it shouldn't be all loose. You know, like in American cars, they got everything kind of just like spread out everywhere, and that's one thing that I like about this Mercedes. Being that everything is kind of compact, it actually opened up more engine bay room. Sort of kind of like an engineering forethought. But exterior wise, this car isn't like in terrible shape. It looked like it had been painted one time on the passenger side. The headlights are faded a little bit, but like, for a car that's got, you know, almost 200,000 miles, it's not necessarily terrible. You know, paint's not really flaking, panels aren't necessarily falling off, you know, that kind of thing. It's not. The one cool thing is, given its age, the headliner isn't as bad as I actually expected. That's one of the most common things in older cars. Headliners, like, the headliners just fade. That's it. They just fall. This one, the actual sunroof visor, it looks like it's faded, but like from a design standpoint, it looks like this headliner itself's actually held up there pretty nicely. Like, I've seen where they rely a lot on like plastic clips. This one like has a metal band around it, so that could be some of the contributing factors of why the headliner is actually holding up so well. But yeah, this car had 177,000 miles. The customer, I think, paid, I want to say, less than $5,000 for it. She drove it for a full year without doing any maintenance, which is something you should never do to any car. But she did it. She had 0 issues up until now. And then she brought it to me, and as a great mechanic, I told her that she should sell the car. Obviously, I didn't tell her just like that. We did a breakdown over all the things that the car needed: suspension all the way around, motor mounts, transmission mounts, and possibly a new transmission, but most definitely a fluid and filter flush. But after, you know, the cost of doing all that, if she has less than $5,000 into it, considering its mileage, she should just get rid of the car. Maybe somebody will buy it that has one already, that's looking for parts, body panels, engine maybe. That is some of the things that you need to consider whenever you buy an older luxury car. Is it worth it in the long run? Probably not. But you know, for under $5,000, you couldn't really get a Chevrolet Silverado 20 years old. Still will cost you over $5,000. If you do your research on the vehicle first, look at it from a pure numbers perspective. She drove a luxury car daily under $5,000 for a full year without doing any maintenance. I can't really say that, you know, you could do that with many other cars. I'm thinking about somebody that had a 2013 Kia Optima, and they drove it for a year, and I want to say that the car had under 100,000 miles when they started driving it. Anyway, the engine seized up. Whereas this car, the engine's actually fine, still drives. It's just unpleasant. It needs a lot of things to get it back to that pleasant feeling. So like, if you're willing to do the work, or you're willing to spend the money, first off, don't go buy the base model, the lowest of the lowest that you can find for your price range. You want to kind of get, if this car was the higher trim line, namely like a C300 or something like that, it would have made it more worth it to repair. But at this point, she shouldn't do it, just considering how much she paid for it and how much she needs to put into it. Lower levels and motorcycles, that's another cool thing too. I get a lot of cool stuff. Sounds like there's plenty of used car salesmen out there, but people actually aren't very informed whenever they go to buy a vehicle. They've driven 5 vehicles their whole entire life, and then they go and make a purchase, you know, for a $28,000 vehicle, only have driven 5 vehicles their entire life. That's not a very well-informed thing to do. You shouldn't do that. So you can't necessarily drive as many as I've driven, but I can share with you some of the things and key features of the ones that I have and that I've driven. So this one was actually a very hard choice for me. Should she sell it or should she fix it? So simply put, it would cost like at least $3,000, best case scenario, for the suspension all the way around, the transmission filter fluid, and the conductor, and what else? Oh, the motor mounts, the time involved in the motor mounts. I don't know. That was a very hard choice. I told her that she should sell it just due to the mileage that it's had, because, you know, we could put $3,000 into it and, you know, it'll shift perfectly fine, but then the engine would just go out because due to the mileage. Not a very common thing, but it could happen. So me trying to be the best mechanic that I can be, I just wanted to, you know, let her know her options. I could do all this work, get it shifting fine, driving good, riding good, and then, you know, the engine blow. So that's one of the things you got to consider. Is it worth it to you? If this was a C300 or something, I would probably say yes, but since it's the lowest of the low and it's been repainted before, so it's been in some type of body damage on the passenger side, it's really hard to see in this with the camera. She should just let it go. So yeah, that will conclude this video. If you liked it, if you like this type of content, if this was helpful to you in any type of way, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what I should do in the future. What are some of the things that you'd like to know? But yeah, I plan to keep on making these. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to stay safe and always make a decision that you have that's well informed. Always do that. Go into a decision knowing what your options are. You don't want to make a decision not knowing your options. That's what I'm trying to do here.